Hey everyone, it's Bob with Nerds, and well, you saw the draft videos, and draft's one of my favorite formats. But my other favorite format's Commander, and so since we Commander Legends hit, I figured I'd talk a little bit about it, talk about some of the sleeper hits in the set. Because we all know that Jeweled Lotuses, the Hall Breachers, cards like that, those cards are powerful, we know they're powerful. We got a high price tag associated with them, but I think there's some cards in the set that are kind of getting overlooked, or cards that are kind of like archetypes that aren't quite there yet, but maybe with the next couple sets we'll get some more tools that will really kind of put them over the edge, and then these cards will go up in price. But right now they're pretty inexpensive, so if you want to just stock up or get some blinged out versions, some foil etched ones, that would be a pretty good time to get some of these cards. I think they're gonna do some work in the future. So we'll just call this my top 5 sleeper hits of Commander Legends. And we'll start off with an honorable mention with Crack the Thumbless. Now this card's a Chaos card, and so why I put it as an honorable mention is not everyone likes Chaos cards. But Crack lets you, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you flip a coin, and basically if you win the flip, you get 2 copies of the spell. If you lose, it goes back to your hand, you can cast it again later. So that's actually kind of useful, because even if you lose the flip, you can partner him up with Vow Smasher the Fierce. So every time you cast spells, you get to do damage to random opponents. So you double up on your Chaos, you double up on your damage that your spells do, and both have partners, so you can pair them together and play them in Rakdos. He also goes pretty good as part of your deck if you're doing a Okon Zender Split deck. These cards both care about coin flips, and Crack lets you flip lots of coins, so it's pretty good in that style of deck. But right now, with these prices, it looks like Crack's regular one's going for about $1, the foil's $2, the foil etched is $3, so he's pretty inexpensive right now if you just wanted to grab one to start working on a Chaos deck. So next up we got Nymerus, Ona's Trickster. This is a card that is for an archetype that I think is going to be a thing in the future. I mean, it's already good. It's in blue-black. It's already good with instants, obviously, but we're seeing a lot more cards in blue-black that are printed with flash. So it cares about casting cards on your opponent's turn. So you already got your instants there, but with your flash creatures, you can cast them on your opponent's turn and get triggers off of her. And the reason why I think we're going to see more flash cards in blue-black is right now blue-black doesn't share a keyword. Each color combination has at least one. Some of them have more than one, but they have at least one keyword that they tend to share amongst one another. Like, for example, blue and white. You have all your flyers in blue and white. Black and green have your death touchers. But blue-black doesn't share anything yet. Blue-green actually has 2. They have hexproof, and they have flash. So I'm thinking that they're kind of starting to start pulling flash away from green and start giving it to black more. And we've seen some cards that point in this direction. Things like your Slitherwisps care about flash cards. Things like your Brineborn Cutthroats. It's also kind of interesting about some of these blue-black cards with flash. They tend to be fairies or merfolk or rogues or pirates, so there is a little bit of room for like a creature type tribal, in addition to caring about flash and caring about casting spells on your opponent's turn. Right now, the Trickster is like the regular and the foil are under $1, and even the foil etched is maybe just over $1. So it's really inexpensive. It's something you can pick up, and it might be the type of card that we'll see some play in the future. So next, we got, again, Arkham Weaver. Now, this is a card for another archetype that doesn't quite exist yet, Mardu Enchantments. Now, normally you think of like white and green, maybe white, green, blue as your enchantment colors, so it's normally a Selesnya or a Bant deck, but this is Rakdos, and so it's got red and black in addition to the white. There are actually a lot of really powerful enchantments in red and black. Most of them are really expensive, so that's why this is really good, because you can cheat them into play. As long as you can get your cards from your hand into your graveyard with, say, something like Faithless Looting, you can discard some big enchantments like, say, Captive Audience, or even something like an Eldrazi Conscription, because then you can put it on your commander and start swinging and, you know, kill them with commander damage. You can use cheap enchantments like something like Omen of the Sun to sacrifice to fuel again and bring back your big stuff. And then it's also really useful because then you get, like, you know, 2 tokens and a little bit extra life just to kind of stall the game and, you know, start getting your stuff set up. And I really want to mess around with this and try to get it to work with Follow the Thrawn, so I can keep recursing that and blowing up everyone's land, and in general just making the entire table hate the deck, because that's fun, right? Sounds like fun. And right now he's under $1 for a regular, $1 for a foil, $2 for a foil etched, so again, pretty inexpensive. So another one we're looking at here is Ampkin Mutineer. This is just basically hard removal on a body in blue. Like, it doesn't matter what it's targeting. It can be targeting big indestructible creature. I mean, it can hit an Eldrazi. It can hit one of the gods once they're online. It's an exile effect, so it gets around indestructible. Since it's an exile, it doesn't trigger stuff like the Eldrazi Titans going to the graveyard shuffling their deck. And you know, and all they get out of the deal is they get a token. They get a 4/3 Salamander Warrior. So definitely not as worrisome as something like an Eldrazi Titan staring down your neck. The other thing that's interesting about this card is it also has Encores. So once it dies and it's in your graveyard, you can spend its Encore cost, which in this case is 4 generic and blue, and you get a token for each opponent. It's a copy of it. So each token comes in and triggers the enter the battlefield. So for each token that you get to exile another creature, and then you can attack with them the turn they come into play. Now you lose them at the end of the turn, but it's a good way to get rid of a lot of stuff that's clogging up the board and maybe get an Alpha Strike off or something like that. And regular one, even a foil one, the regular one's under $1, foil one's right around $1, and you know, your full arts are $1 and your full art foil's $2. So this is a good card if you wanted to bling it out. It's not really expensive right now. So next up, Keeper of the Accord. Now this is a card that's already started to catch on. When I first started looking at this stuff, the prices were lower than they are right now. Keeper of the Accord's really good in white because it basically says you never fall behind. Whenever your opponents have more creatures, you get yourself a soldier token, and whenever your opponents have more lands, you get to search for happy little plains and put it into play. And this triggers at the end of each opponent's turn. So if you have someone who's really ramping up or really swarming, you know, you get triggers constantly. It gives you chump blockers for days, and yeah, it basically just says you never fall behind. And it's a 3/4. It's a pretty big body for 4 mana in white. So yeah, copies of this. A regular one's about $4. Foil's $5. The full art's about $6, and the full art foil has spiked to a whopping $15. So this is the type of card that people are already starting to pick up on, and I think it's a good pickup. You know, get the regular versions, maybe get a foil if you want it. You know, stay away from the full art foils right now. But yeah, it's a good card, and I think we'll see some play. And my last pick is Kadama of the East Tree. This card's just ridiculous. You know, it's a 6/6 reach for 6. It right there passes the vanilla test. But it says that whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, if it wasn't put there with this ability, you can put a permanent with equal or lesser converted mana cost from your hand into the battlefield. So this means you cast a really big creature, you get another creature from your hand for free. It's great. But more importantly, you cast something like, say, Kadama's Reach, you get to search for a land, put it into your hand, and you get to put a land from your library into play, which then triggers the East Tree, and the land that you just put in your hand also goes into play. So it turns your stuff like Kadama's Reach and your Cultivate into just search for 2 lands, put them into play. So powers up your ramp spells, functionally doubles your mana because you get another permanent off of the permanent you cast. Just a solid card. On top of that, it's legendary, it's partner, so you compare it with any other partner you want. You can get some good 2 and 3 color combinations out of this. It's another one of those green cards that it does a lot. It really does a lot. And let's see, it's regular ones going for about $3, foils around $4. The foil etched is starting to climb. It's about $7 going up to $8. So again, this is another one of those cards people are starting to catch on that it's going to be powerful, but it's still not super expensive. So I think this might be a good time to pick it up. Go for one of the cheaper ones. Maybe you want a couple of them because you maybe want to build a deck around it, or you just want to throw it into your already existing green deck. You want to have 2 or 3 copies so you can put it in a couple of your decks. But if you really want the blinged out version, it's still $7 or $8 for a full art or for a foil etched. Not too bad. So yeah, that's it. Those are my sleeper hits for the set, and hope everyone enjoyed the video. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, and let's open something.